This video is going to go back over making a simple JBeam. Now the link that I'm going to provide you will give you these files here for this basic mod. What you're going to do is open the zip file and copy this to your clipboard, and then go to your user folder, and in vehicles paste that folder. Do not load this in the game yet. There's not any nodes in there. It's just basically a JBeam with everything filled out except the nodes, beams, and triangles. That's what you got to make. The way I make it is with Blender most of the time. Making an object and exporting it with the JBeam exporter program. And I will also give you a link to. You can install that by going to Preferences, Add-ons, Install, and it should say iomesh underscore jbeam.zip. You'll select this, install add-on, and you'll see it in here. Once you do that, import, export, JBeam format, check that little box. If not, save your preferences if autosave is not already on. So let's just send this cube here. Now let's look at this cube. It's halfway in the ground. By default, everything is set to that 3D cursor when you start a new project. So its origin's important because it tells it where it goes. But just real quickly, we're going to move it up here like this. And after we're done moving, scaling, rotating, whatever we're going to do to it, just apply all transforms. Now we're going to remember this cube. You can delete the light in the camera. Go to File, Export, JBeam, Cube. And it says you must save the Blender file first. So save your Blender file, save as. Save the file in the vehicles folder for your new mod. That way, when you go to export to JBeam, that will be where it gets saved. File, export, JBeam, cube. And there it went to cube. See that? Exported one JBeam file. Now, there's that folder that was created, and there is that exported JBeam cube. Open it up, and you'll see it has nodes, beams, and triangles, but it does not have all the other stuff here. So you take one and you move one to one side, and then you find nodes here. Delete this. Now copy the nodes like this, move them to here, and then do the same thing with the beams. Move the beams to here, but delete that there. Triangles, delete this here, and move this to here. Save the file. Now load the game and load the mod. No matter what level you load. Alright. This is our mod. I had to hit Control B to see it, to see the beams. Control T to see the triangles. Control N to see the nodes. Now, it is missing triangles. Well, I don't know why. Oh, maybe it ain't. That's just the way the cameras. It's just the way the transparency's being crazy. Or no, it's right. I don't know. Alright, next thing, cube. Cube. Let's give it a texture. Let's change the name of that basic material to, I don't know, new cube. I don't know, we'll just make it a color. And we'll export this as a DAE, and that's not the JBeam export folder. The folder for the basic mod. It doesn't matter what you name it. Just export it. Now we need to reload the level because the game's got to make a material now. Unless you want to make it manually, cease your reload. Forgot. See where it says flex bodies? Put in the name of that mesh cube. Or it ain't gonna make anything. And it did not make the texture. I'm glad you got to see that happen, because it'll happen to you too. Alright, now there's a temp folder that gets created when you make a mod. And there's vehicles, you'll see basic mod. Delete that. There's a cached version of the mod in there. And oftentimes when you make a mod and you add to it like we just did after the fact, it will not load. See, this didn't even make a material. It didn't name it or anything because it assumed it already didn't have a material. So we're going to delete that main.material.json and we're going to let it try again without the temp folder interfering. Normally you make the whole thing at one time, but I was doing this in a couple different steps so you can see what each part of the progress makes. About the damn temp folder. terrible to tell you. I'm terrible at making things because I have problems myself. Not even sure why that material's not there. But it's not. It sure ain't. It's almost like somebody decided they wasn't gonna make whatever it is they were gonna make, and they deleted that damn thing. That's exactly what happened. Yep. I decided I wasn't gonna make it, and I moved it out of there. I guess I could put something in there. So something's in there. Alright. That's our cube. Say this is my cube. There are many like it, but this one is mine. And you have a cube. Now I'll show you something else. You want 2 cubes? Fine. You can make 2 cubes. Control N, look at these node names here. You see them? These little names. See that little letter N right there? Each thing you make in Blender and you export as a JBeam will have a prefix of a letter N. Well, if you're going to make multiple things, they can't all be letter N. So when you make something else, say you make another cube, say you duplicate this cube and you move it up to here. Maybe you don't have 2 in the scene, so you'd go to this here, this little green triangle, and you see this nodes, this prefix, that letter N, change that to like letter A or something. Now change this to cube. You can call it whatever you want to call it. We're just going to call it cube 2. Now we moved it. Anytime you move, rotate, or scale something, you need to apply its transforms, because its origin is still set up there in the sky. It's that little orange dot. It needs to be to the 3D cursor down there when you export it. So we'll export this and this as a DAE. Both of them together will overwrite the other one. Now we need to export this cube 2 JBeam and then load it into our Notepad++. Cube 2. See that little letter A? That's what that's for. So flex bodies here. We'll add another one. Just copy this and paste it. Cube 2, and we'll make this group B. Go down to the nodes, copy this line here, copy, paste it, make this group B. Go to group B, which is named A. We'll copy this and put that here. Then go down to the nodes after the last nodes of the other cube and take the beams from the other cube, take the beams from this cube, paste them there. Then do the same thing with the triangles. Take these triangles and put them here. You know what? I'll make this more easier to follow. Since the first one is letter N, we'll just make the group letter N, and we'll make this letter A, since I don't want to make things difficult. Makes it more easy to follow, right? Let's save it, and then in the game hit Control R to reload, and now you have 2 cubes. Now pause the game, because there's something I didn't tell you yet. Reset the scene, hit Control N to see the node names. Now what we need to do is find out what the camera is going to point at. So I'm going to tell the camera to point at this AL4 back here. And then what that means is up here in the reference nodes, the reference node will be node AL4. That's what the camera will pivot around. So what's going to be behind that is going to be AR2. And what's to the left of AL4 is actually AR6. I know you can't see that. I can barely damn see it myself. And what's above AL4 is AL5. That tells the camera what's up, down, left, right. Well, up, down, back, and left. So now when you save that and Control R, hit the home key, the camera knows. It may not know it till you reload it. The camera should know what to pivot around. Now see, it's pivoting around that AL4, but it knows how to spawn it because it knows where the camera which should be behind and to the left and to above. See, that's exactly what it's doing. It's looking at these reference nodes. Without it, the camera will do like this when you spawn something. Sometimes it just don't know what the hell it's looking at. That's the reason for that. Now say you want to connect these together. Well, you do those with beams. So you basically just take this NL1 and that's AL0, for example. You can just we'll just borrow this one since one of the numbers is in there already. Paste it, AL0 to NL1. Save it. Control R. Oh, yeah. See that little beam there? It connected them together. Alright, now that thing you can assign it so it can have different strengths and weaknesses for that beam also. So you see this beam spring here, damping and all that stuff. Copy this to your clipboard, and just for that one line here, paste it, because anything you paste, whatever is under it follows what's above it. So what we'll do is tell this thing strength to be something like, I don't know, 2000. And it can bend. The beam is basically a spring. It can contract or expand once it reaches that amount of force. So I guess, you know what, let's make it so that after 2000, the force of 2000, it'll break, and it can permanently deform after, say, I don't know, 5000. I'll reset it. It's got to be stronger than that. Now, when you're doing stuff like this, you can hit escape, go to vehicle config, go to debug, and you can tell it to show you in the beam visualization to be, you can tell it to show you stress and or broken groups. broken only, so you know when your beam is going to break. You'll see a red line appear. You also got stress, that if you were to pick the thing up and get up close to it, you'll see as it's stressing, it's starting to shift colors a bit. Depending on how much stress has, depends on how red it gets. It'll break. Well, it goes like from a blue to a red. Let's give it more strength and more deform. Trying to think of what little other basic things. I don't want to make the video too long. I'll just keep it simple. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll keep it simple. I don't want to make video too long. I think that'll be good for now.